This car needs no introduction. This is Apex Blue. And let me tell you, in person, it's so much prettier than in pictures. You see this thing in pictures, and it still looks lighter, but it's a super pretty blue. So engine bay, completely stock. It's always nice to see them like this. That way, it hasn't had any modifications that has been done wrongly. We're all about modifications here, but of course, something that doesn't impact the reliability is a must. Something that's reversible. Doesn't matter how much you like it. If it ever becomes a point where you want to sell it, take in the aftermarket parts off, and even if you get 50 cents on the dollar for the parts, that don't really increase the value of the car. That way you can sell the car, sell the parts. You don't come out of pocket nowhere near as much. If you ever see the airbox removed on an S2000, this is pretty much what it's like on all of the years and all of the colors. They don't paint under here. It's just like a very, very faint paint with a little bit of primer. Well, on the white car, you might have saw that we had the filler piece right here. Well, we liked it so much and the finish was so nice and it fit perfect, we decided to get some. So we have a few in stock. So if you're doing one of these cars and you're doing either a supercharger or a turbo, this is an option for you. I'll show you when it's done if this customer chooses it. That might actually go well with this car because it will pick up some of those colors in the blue. Like I say, we'll check with the customer and we'll let you know, but this is something that would really be a nice addition to that engine bay. So the intercooler is powder coated and look how nice it looks, and it does a good job. It doesn't fill up the little crevices. A lot of people think that when you powder coat it you ruin the intercooler. You really don't if it's done right. AB know what they're doing. They use a really fine amount. They're not going to load up the fins. And he wanted the factory tips powder coat, so we had those done too by AB. That's going to look nice on this setup right there. It's still my favorite tip on the AP2. It just fits that bumper so nicely. So we're going to do our LHT modified Q300. You've seen us do that in the past. We kind of change a bunch of stuff on it and modify it to accept these tips. Well, it's a special size piping. I think it's like 2.4 inches in there. It's a Japanese size, but it took a little bit of time to find the exact size, but we do have it. That way they slip on there. There's a little bracket you need to build so it attaches in the factory way. It has the little tab that sits in there. I'll show you that as we put that on. This was the exhaust that came off, and I think it's Greddy that was offered through Go Tuning. Well, it's rusted on the outside. It's actually rusted on the inside too. The mufflers rattle. It feels like it's broken apart. So we're doing an exhaust on it, and he wanted the factory tips. So I got the piping to take over to Austin. We made this intake heat shield and intake tube the way he wanted. We're going to go ahead and take this over and get this done in wrinkle black so it all matches. So the brake line on both sides on the front are installed incorrectly. You see the angle it's coming out. It's literally coming out straight from the caliper into the wheel. Well, on the passenger side, it's actually rubbed through and the line is leaking, the fluid is leaking out. You can see the leak. You see it dripping right there. Well, if you look at that little slot on the top there, that's where the line is supposed to go. There is a little recess for it, and the line sits in there neatly and goes straight up and down. So pay attention when you install the lines, whether you buy some Goodrich brake lines from us or aftermarket ones from somebody else or even OEM ones. That's the way they install. They have to go straight up and down on the front. So the Goodrich braided lines, in my opinion, these are the best ones out there. We've tried almost everything. We've installed them. We have customers bring them from all kinds of different companies, and every single one of them I have an issue with. We've had them where we've put them on and they've leaked. We've had the threads on the bolts here have issues right out the bag. We've had the lines where the crimp leaks. It sounds crazy, but we don't want to do anything twice. We want to do everything once, do it right, and be happy and know that they're good. These are, of course, braided stainless. They're made in England. We actually brought them directly from England, from Goodrich. These are braided stainless, but what also I like about them is they have a clear, like a clear silicone sheath on there, which stops the dirt getting stuck in here. You don't realize until a few years after owning it, all the road grime gets packed in here and you can't clean it and it just makes them look grimy. Now, of course, if it was an old van that you drive all year round and you don't care about, that wouldn't be an issue. But when it's a car like an S2000, we get under there and we clean it. We like to make sure everything's nice. This, you kind of wipe it off with a cloth and it looks like this for years to come. Quick tip. These are banjo bolts, which means they are hollow. The fluid passes through the middle and then through these holes in the outside here. I'm only bringing this to your attention because you cannot torque these down like they're a grade 12 bolt. You can't put a whole bunch of torque on those. They are stronger than the factory ones from what I found. I've never had an issue with them, but use your factory torque rating to put these down, and always check for leaks. Make sure you do use the new washer included. Make sure there's no debris on the caliper and you'll be in good shape. Now when it's installed correctly, that's what it looks like. You see the line points up and it goes into that little space right there. The mounting hardware all fits like it should do. The line isn't going to rub anywhere, isn't going to sit outside of the wheel or contact the suspension components. There you go, just for reference. I've already replaced the serpentine belt. It's an excellent time to do it when everything's off, just to give you a lot more room. We put a cabin filter in there. There is a separate video I put together to show basically a how-to. Something that's pretty important because we get these that are so bad and nobody replaces them because they're kind of a pain to do. So watch that video, put about an hour aside. It's not too difficult. Just follow that video step by step and I think it will go pretty smooth for you, and hopefully your filter isn't as bad as some that we've seen in the past. Are you ready?
Yeah. Alright, so the special hanger for the back of an AP2 S2000 is actually available at Advanced Auto Parts. So if you are missing one of these, you need one, so you're doing an exhaust over the weekend, they had this in stock. That's the part number. It is a Walker product, and it is identical to the factory piece.
So our parts just came back from Austin. We got a nice wrinkled texture black on that. Look how good that looks. That looks fantastic. So we can get these put on there. The customer wants to drop it. We typically drop them about 20 millimeters with coilovers. So it has obviously the CR shocks and springs, so that we don't mess around with those. We're not going to put lowering springs on because he also wants it a little bit softer on occasion. We're going to go ahead and put some Skunk Pro STs on there. Drop it 20 millimeters, soften it up, and then in the time where he wants to stiffen it up, it's just a turn of a knob. I have this system on our red S2000. I've had it on there for about 2 years and I've been pretty happy with it. Up in the mountains last year I did stiffen it up and it definitely made an improvement of handling in the tight twisties. Then when it's time to leave, soften them back up and they're still in good shape, feel good. So we had a squeak in the pedal. Took it apart and found out the bushing that is supposed to be in here, which is a plastic one, was completely gone. So what we're doing now is making a brass bushing and a new pin. The pin that was in there was all walled out too, if I can show you that. Right there, as the bushing is degraded, that's been metal on metal. And you can see right there, you see the shape. So we're actually building a new pin, and with the new brass bushing, our clutch will feel buttery smooth again. So there's our new pin. If the camera focuses on it, now it's nice and tight in there. It's not going to wobble around and squeak. So we're going to put some Aurora grease in there. Now's the time to change the pedal buttons too. Just save headaches down the road. These look kind of old, but once we have this greased up, put together, the clutch should feel like brand new. That's so much better.
Oh yeah.
It's quiet too.
It had a little bit of a click in it too, and that's all gone.
That makes such the difference. That's one of those things that you don't realize until you drive a car and you kind of get used to it. Then, of course, then the problem goes away. You realize how bad it was. That pretty much takes care of everything on his list. We'll just go over it one more time, and the car is ready to tune. So, I mean, we see so many of these cars, but they never cease to amaze me. They're still probably one of the best made cars there is, and for the price point, fantastic value. I don't know of any other car that you can double the power and keep the reliability and the drivability and it still be a nice car to drive. There's usually a compromise whenever you do anything like this. And honestly, this car, there's almost zero compromise.